I told Rowan, hey, when you guys get ready to do a record, don't hesitate to call me. And about 8 months later, he did, and went to Muscle Shoals and made that first record, Half the City, and kind of blew up from there. So.
Welcome to the Shellcast, a show about music, culture, and Memphis.
As we live into our mission of building community through music,
education,
and diversity,
we look forward to interviewing artists and musicians and hearing about how they are writing their own stories
and building their own communities.
85 years strong, and with a rich history, the Levitt Shell has stood the test of time as a beacon of hope in the heart of Memphis. I can actually do that one more time.
This podcast is brought to you by Orion Federal Credit Union, where a big part of us is being a big part of the community. Visit orionfcu.com to see how Orion is redefining banking. Thanks for joining us again on Shellcast. Al Gamble is probably best known as the keyboard player for St. Paul and the Broken Bones, but he's a man who keeps a lot of irons in the fire. He still occasionally works with longtime Memphis favorite City Champs, and he's always on the lookout for new and interesting ways to share his musical talents with the world. Today, Al talks with us about some of his musical influences and looks back on a very impressive career, a career that began with an epic performance at an assembly while he was in the first grade. He's a great musician, a true gentleman, and a lot of fun to talk to, and we're proud to welcome Al Gamble to Shellcast. Al, thanks for taking the time to join us today.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
I'm going to get the fanboy stuff out of the way real quick. What a career you've had.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I've been extremely lucky and blessed, I think.
I actually didn't know until just recently that you were a member of the Bluebirds with Buddy Flatt.
Yeah, that's right. That's where, I'll tell you what, Buddy taught me everything I needed to know about being in a band. I was like 21, maybe 22 when I joined his band, and wow. I learned so much from him. He was he's an incredible guy. Is an incredible guy.
He's one of my favorite guitarists, I got to tell you. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
You moved to Memphis, I believe, in 1994-ish?
That's correct. Yep. From Tuscumbia, Alabama, which is part of the Shoals area in North Alabama.
Right. Was that essentially to further your music career?
It was. It just so happened I was newly married, and it just so happened that my wife Camille got a job here first, and so we used that opportunity to try to get here, and we wanted to come here anyway, so it worked out.
That did work out. Gamble Brothers, I think, was a pretty early success for you in the city.
Yeah, I guess we started that in 2000 and had a nice little run, and haven't played for about 13 years, and did a kind of a reunion show during the holidays a couple of years ago.
Oh, wow. I wish I would have seen that.
It was so much fun. It was great to see some faces I hadn't seen in a long time. And it was good to know that we could still bring some people out. And it was our old crowd. And I don't mean old in that, well, I kind of do in that way. But it was a lot of fun.
I mean, with the Gamble Brothers, if I'm not mistaken, you beat out like 1,000 bands across the country for a pretty prestigious Billboard award.
That was a nice little event that took place. And I'm glad we decided to throw our hat in the ring for that. We won some gear, and able to say it all these years later in an interview, which gives me something to talk about. So.
Well, that kind of morphed into City Champs at some point, which is pretty fair to say a fairly legendary Memphis band.
Oh wow! Well, it's nice to hear. I don't know if we're quite there yet, but as far as legendary bands in Memphis go, but it's nice to be lumped in there in conversation. But yeah, that started the City Champs. Actually started probably around 2007 with a band called The Grip, and Art Edmonston was instrumental in putting that together. And then he got busy with a band called Mofro.
Right. Oh, love Mofro.
Yeah, great. And he was on the road quite a bit, and the City Champs held on to our little residency at the Buccaneer, and well, it just kind of evolved into the city champs. But
right.
Yeah, that's been a lot of fun, and got 3 records out now. And unfortunately, George Slupik has moved to North Carolina, but we hope to still do some city champs gigs every now and then, and hopefully another recording sometime.
I got to tell you that City Champs were actually the second band I ever saw after I moved to Memphis.
Is that right? Where was it?
Yeah, saw you guys at the Buck one night, and I moved here from Orlando, and I remember looking at you guys at the Buck and going, you know what, the talent level in this town's pretty high.
Wow, that's great.
You also did a real nice streamcast for the Shell when during all the pandemic stuff.
Yeah, that was fairly early on.
It was.
And yeah, I'm glad we were glad to do it. Glad to just play it all, and.
So how did the association with St. Paul and the Broken Bones begin?
That began with a studio session that, in all places, was in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, and my brother, who had already moved he lived here for a while, moved back to Tuscumbia, and was playing with Jason Isbell. Started playing with Jason Isbell, but he got a call for a session and involved going to Pennsylvania, and they needed keyboard player, and so he gave me a call. I said, sure, I'll do it, and went there. And Chad also had with him the guitar player for Jason Isbell at the time, Browan Lawler, and Browan recently moved to Birmingham and started playing with Paul Janeway of St. Paul, and Jesse Phillips, a bass player, and they put together this band. And Browan showed me some during the session. We had some time off, and Browan showed me a video of the band, and the band couldn't have been. It was probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 months old, and it was some footage, and I was blown away by Paul, of course, and saw the potential there. And I told Browan, hey, when you guys get ready to do a record, don't hesitate to call me. And about 8 months later, he did, and went to Muscle Shoals and made that first record, Half the City,
right,
and kind of blew up from there. So
I think you guys have played the Shell 3 times that I can think of. It's been really amazing to see the evolution of the band over that time.
Oh yeah, well, I appreciate that. Yeah, that's you mentioned the evolution. That is something that the band started as a retro soul thing, but I think just musically just kind of naturally evolved, and I think it was smart not to want to be pigeonholed into that specific genre. Just if you look at if you try to make a career out of a band, and so yeah, things just kind of evolved. And let's see, what record are we on now? We're on 4.
Fourth one, maybe.
We're gonna release it later this month, and maybe I think the 22nd.
I believe it's called The Alien Coast.
Yeah, The Alien Coast. That's right. Yeah.
Man, I cannot wait.
Oh, good. Well,
you want to give us a hint of what to expect?
Well, yeah, I think there was some more evolution.
Cool.
And we did this right before, I guess it was February of 2020, so right before COVID hit.
Want to learn more about how you can support the Levitt Shell and its mission of building community through music, education, and diversity? Head to levittshell.org. You can read up on our 85-year history and check out our schedule of live and virtual events. Visit our Shell shop to grab all the swag and find out ways you can participate in our mission, whether that's through donations, volunteering, sponsoring a show, or becoming a member of our Shell Circle. Once again, that's levittshell.org.
You actually got very fortunate then, being able to sneak that in before all the pandemic stuff hit.
Yeah, it really worked out to our favor. I mean, I think we would have. Well, I guess so, because early on, not knowing anything about anything, we
right.
I'm sure that would have been canceled as well. The studio time and everything. So
right.
Yeah, you're right. We were fortunate to get that in.
How do you maintain the chemistry with your bandmates and everything like that through a pandemic? Did you guys get to see each other or practice or talk or anything?
No, there was We're a little bit spread out to begin with. 3 members reside in Birmingham, and our bass player's in Montana.
Wow.
I'm in Memphis, and obviously we've got a guy in New Orleans. But Dropbox, I would say, would be the best way we kept in touch with each other, sending and sharing files and ideas. That was the main source for collaboration during that time. And then we put it all together and recorded in Memphis. Well, I'm not supposed to talk about that, I guess. But anyway, I can say we recorded another one in Memphis later that year. It was, I guess, August.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Man, thank the stars for technology, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
Sometimes it works in our favor.
That's right.
I'm guessing the pandemic kind of hit you double hard. Your wife, Camille, was president of the Shell board of directors during the pandemic, of course. That had to be difficult.
It was. She was so, as we all were, looking forward to shows but I got to say, she really, she and Natalie and everybody just, powered through, and I think things are looking up, and I'm excited to see some shows there in the future.
Finally. Getting back to some of your history, I'm sure there are bunches of influences, but I'm going to be shocked if you're not a Jimmy Smith fan.
Yeah, that's one of my main influences, and I give credit to my dad for that, for having Jimmy Smith records in the house and playing them for us. I just really latched on to that sound and that style, and love Jimmy Smith. Ray Charles is another. My dad had some Ray Charles records as well, and a huge fan of his. So yeah. Those are two of the big ones.
So you have a long history and foundation in jazz and soul. Did the blues come naturally from that?
Yeah, I would say, I love jazz. I'm not a jazz player by any stretch. I wouldn't pretend to be, but the blues really came first for me. And, yeah, like we talked about Buddy Flett earlier, and
right.
Yeah, that was really my foundation. I would say, for my career, and it started with the blues.
As so many things do.
Yeah.
So early in your life, thank goodness for your dad with all the records and everything like that. Did you have an aha moment when it's like, I can do this?
Yeah, I had an aha. I don't know about as far as saying, oh, I can do this. I had an aha moment where I said, I think I want to do this.
That works.
Yeah, I was actually in officer basic course in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Wow.
When I decided that, you know what, I think I want to give this music thing a try. So, yeah, I went to the University of Alabama and got my Army commission through ROTC there, and after college, doing some my required officer course. And anyway, I didn't hate the military, but I didn't. I was in the National Guard. I was never active duty, but I just decided I didn't want to have any regrets as far as giving music a shot, So I did.
It has to have been satisfying. Can you think of maybe an exceptional moment that you remember?
Through the career?
Through music. Maybe your first time on stage, or...
Oh, wow. First time on stage was, if this counts, I think it does. I was in first grade, and oddly enough, Camille was in the same school, the same grade, not the same class, but at the same time. This was in Huntsville, Alabama, and
that's incredible.
It was show and tell, and I brought a harmonica to class for show and tell, and I played Turkey in the Straw. And
that's
awesome.
The
teacher said, "Hey, that's pretty good." And she went and got the principal and played it for the principal, and he called an assembly for the little school there. And so I played in the auditorium, Turkey in the Straw a couple of times, I think, for the school.
That's amazing. I love that story.
Maybe that's when I got the bug. Just didn't realize I had it the whole time. But
well, you played in front of some pretty large crowds since then.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
In fact, we got a tour coming up now, don't you?
Well, yeah, we were supposed to leave for Europe the end of this month, and that has been postponed. I'm going to go back in July, but we're going to, if everything goes okay and nothing, no lockdowns or anything, we're scheduled to hit it pretty hard in the beginning of March. So
cool.
Here in the States. So
right.
Hopefully that'll happen.
Man, I mean, after all this shutdown and everything, that's got to be really exciting for you.
Yeah, it is. I think for anybody playing music, the pandemic has put playing gigs into a different perspective, I think, and just an appreciation to be able to do it. It means a lot.
I mean, it's always easy to see just from knowing you in person and then watching you on stage. There's always a transformation with a musician.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%.
Get up there in front of people and everything.
Yeah.
I'll be all selfish here for a second. Any Shell moments come to mind for you?
Let's see. Yes. The first time with St. Paul was pretty great. It was just kind of looking back at kind of a special moment. And there's another moment that this is a city champs show. I had bad luck with rain, I gotta say, like with cancellations, and I think it was people started looking in my direction because there was that maybe that was a bad luck of sorts. But there was a particular city champs Shell show that got canceled right at the last minute due to rain, but we ended up coming to our house, and word just kind of got out, and we set up in the dining room and played, and a lot of people came through, a lot of people we knew, a lot of people we didn't, and it was ended up being a fun night.
Those can be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I know. I remember the show when you guys opened for Mavis Staples at the Shell.
Oh yeah,
that was a lot of fun too.
Yeah, it was great fun. Played with the Bokies there, backing up William Bell, which was great. Another memorable. They're all memorable, but yeah, that one stands out too.
Sure. So you've accomplished so much in music at this point. What hopes and dreams do you have going forward?
Oh wow! I just want to be able to keep playing and recording. That's my hopes and dreams. Really. I feel really fortunate and really blessed, and I just hope to be able to keep doing it as long as I can. If you
had your choice of any musicians out there right now that you could work with, who would you like to guest with?
Wow, that's I haven't thought about that. There's so many great ones here in Memphis that
there are indeed,
and I've gotten to work with a lot of them, and it's just I just feel so fortunate to know these guys and to just be able to play with them or just go hear them. It's just
fully understand.
Yeah, very fortunate.
Do you have any interest in the other side of the console? Would you like to be a producer or anything someday?
That's something that I have thought about. Camille pushes me to she thinks I ought to try that. And yeah, maybe someday I wouldn't mind getting or sitting in that chair.
I think it'd be a natural just because you've played so many different styles of music so well, and you have a great understanding of what it takes.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
Oh, a great pleasure. Well, Al, I really want to thank you once again for taking the time and spending these moments with us. Can't wait to see you again.
Well, yeah, I look forward to it, Silver, and thank you so much for having me.
Always a pleasure. You're the best, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
It's always so inspiring to talk to a talented musician who still has that fire inside of him. The Alien Coast, the album from St. Paul and the Broken Bones that Al spoke about, has been released. Do yourself a favor, check it out. It'll put a big old smile on your face. You can keep up with most of Al's activities at stpaulandthebrokenbones.com. And if you'd like to keep current with all the exciting things happening at the Shell, check out volunteer opportunities, or even make a much appreciated donation, check us out at overtonparkshell.org. Thanks again for spending time with us today. We'll be with you again soon on Shellcast.